Sometimes, even the smallest event can completely change your life. That's exactly what happened to me, Amara, just 4 weeks before my engagement party. I'm 32 years old and was beyond excited to marry Callum, my boyfriend of 5 years. We'd been planning the engagement party for months, putting every little detail in place. Everything was going perfectly, or so I thought. Then out of nowhere, I got a call from my mom. Amara, cancel the engagement party, she demanded over the phone. Her words shocked me so much I nearly dropped the phone. What? Mom, are you serious? I asked, hoping she was joking. But she wasn't. No joke. Serena just got promoted, and we're celebrating it on the day of your engagement party, she replied calmly. My younger sister, Serena, is 4 years younger than me and has always been my parents' favorite. Growing up, I got used to this favoritism, but this was a whole new level of unfairness. It was my engagement party, something I'd been looking forward to for ages, and they wanted me to cancel it for Serena's promotion? Mom, come on, I said, trying to stay calm. I've been planning this for so long. I'm not canceling it just because Serena got a promotion at work. Don't be selfish, Amara, she snapped. This is a big deal for your sister. The same guests are invited. It's just a different party. Just reschedule yours. My anger started boiling over. No way, Mom. This is my engagement party. I'm not canceling it, and that's final. My mom wasn't pleased. She started yelling, her voice so high and loud that it hurt my ears. I didn't even bother listening to her anymore, and just hung up. As I sat there, staring at my phone, memories of my childhood came rushing back. It had always been like this. Serena came first, and I came second. I remembered my 20th birthday. My parents had completely forgotten about it until my grandma called to wish me a happy birthday. They scrambled to put together a last-minute celebration with a store-bought cake and a generic gift card. It felt pathetic, especially compared to the grand, 5-day party they'd thrown for Serena's 17th birthday just a few months before. Just then, Callum walked in. He took one look at me and knew something was wrong. Amara, what's going on? He asked, sitting down beside me. I told him everything about the call from my mom, her demands, and all the memories that had come flooding back. He listened, his expression growing more and more serious with each word. That's ridiculous, he said when I finished. We're not canceling anything. I nodded, feeling so grateful for his support. I know, but why can't they ever put me first, just once? I asked, the frustration spilling over. Because they're clueless, Callum replied firmly. But I put you first, always. I looked up at him, managing a small smile. I know. That's why I'm marrying you. We spent the rest of the night going over our plans for the party, making sure everything was perfect. As I drifted off to sleep, I tried to push thoughts of my family out of my mind. This was my time, my moment, and I wasn't going to let them ruin it. The next morning, I woke up determined to focus on the party and ignore my mom's ridiculous demands. I had a million things to do: send out invitations, finalize decorations, and handle the catering details. Then my phone buzzed. It was a message from my cousin, Alara. Hey, Amara, everything okay with you and Callum? I heard you guys broke up, she texted. I stared at my phone, completely confused. Where did she get that idea? I quickly typed back, what? No way, we're fine. Who told you that? Alara replied almost immediately. Weird. Aunt Olivia said your mom told her the engagement was off. My stomach sank. I immediately called Alara, my heart pounding. What's going on? Asked as soon as she picked up. I don't know, Amara, she said. Aunt Olivia called last night and said your mom told her you and Callum had a huge fight and called everything off. She also said we should all go to Serena's promotion party instead. It felt like someone had punched me in the gut. Alara, that's all lies. We're still engaged and the party is still on. Mom wanted me to cancel for Serena's thing, but I refused. There was a pause. Oh no, Amara, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I spent the next hour on the phone with Alara, trying to sort out the mess. It turned out my mom had gone behind my back, calling every single relative on the guest list and telling them that the engagement party was off. She'd spun some story about a huge fight between Callum and me, and then suggested they should all go to Serena's promotion party instead. A wild story, claiming that Callum and I had broken up and telling everyone to attend Serena's promotion party instead. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions in check. "I'm going to fix this mess," I said. "Can you help spread the word that the engagement is still on?" I asked Alara, hoping for her support. "Of course," she replied without hesitation. "I'll start calling people right now." After hanging up, I just sat on the couch, trying to wrap my head around it all. My own mother had tried to sabotage my engagement party. It was almost too insane to believe. When Callum got home from work about an hour later, one look at my face told him something was very wrong. I explained everything: Mom's calls, the lies, and how she'd redirected everyone to Serena's party instead. As I talked, I could see anger building in Callum's eyes. "That's it," he said, fuming. "We're cutting them off, all of them. Your parents, Serena, the whole bunch." I knew he was right, but the thought of cutting off my family terrified me. No matter how badly they'd treated me, they were still my family. "Let's focus on fixing this first," I suggested. "We need to let everyone know the engagement is still on." Callum nodded, determined. "Okay, where do we start?" We spent the rest of the night in full damage control mode, sending emails, making phone calls, and posting on social media. I wrote a long message explaining everything and sent it to everyone on our guest list. It was exhausting and humiliating to explain repeatedly that, no, Callum and I hadn't broken up, and yes, the engagement party was still happening. By the time we finished, it was past midnight. My voice was hoarse from all the talking, and my eyes were burning from staring at screens for hours. "We did it," Callum said, pulling me into a comforting hug. "It's going to be okay." I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Mom's betrayal had reopened old wounds. All the times I'd been overlooked, all the times Serena was clearly the favorite. It all came flooding back. The next day, I decided to visit my Aunt Talia, my dad's sister, who had always been kind to me. I thought it might help to invite her to the engagement party in person and clear up any confusion about the family drama. When I got to her house, I heard voices from the living room. I was about to call out a greeting when I overheard something that stopped me in my tracks. "I can't believe Amara would do such a thing," Aunt Talia was saying. "Canceling her own engagement party just to spite her sister. So childish." My heart sank. Another lie, spread by my own family to cover up the first one. I was about to step in and set the record straight when I heard another voice join in. "I know, right? Poor Serena must be devastated," the voice said. "After working so hard to get that promotion, and now Amara's trying to steal her thunder." I recognized the voice as my cousin Lyra's. I'd always thought we were close, but there she was, gossiping about me behind my back. I couldn't take it anymore. I stepped into the room, startling both of them. "Is that really what you think of me?" I asked, my voice icy. They both jumped, as if they'd seen a ghost. Aunt Talia was the first to recover, quickly putting on a fake smile. "Amara, sweetie, we didn't hear you come in." "Obviously," I replied, keeping my tone cold. "I came to invite you to my engagement party, but it sounds like you've already made up your minds about me." Lyra at least had the decency to look embarrassed. "Amara, we didn't mean—" "Save it," I cut her off. "I want to know exactly what Mom told you." For the next hour, I listened as they laid out the twisted story Mom had spun. According to her, I'd thrown a tantrum when I heard about Serena's promotion and demanded she reschedule her celebration. When Serena refused, I supposedly canceled my own engagement party out of spite, saying I'd rather not get married at all than share the spotlight with her. It was yet another lie from my family, crafted to make me look like the villain. By the time they finished, I was shaking with anger. "None of that is true," I said, barely able to keep my voice steady. "Mom called me and demanded that I cancel my party so they could celebrate Serena's promotion. When I refused, she went behind my back and told everyone the engagement was off. I didn't do any of this out of spite. It's my own mother who's sabotaging my engagement." Aunt Talia and Lyra exchanged guilty looks, realizing they'd jumped to conclusions without even asking me for my side of the story. "I'm sorry, Amara," Aunt Talia said, looking genuinely remorseful. "We should have come to you directly." I just nodded, feeling a mix of relief and exhaustion. Please spread the word. I don't want anyone else falling for Mom's lies. As I left, I felt a tiny bit better, but I knew this ordeal wasn't over. Mom's actions had shown me something I couldn't ignore. She'd do anything to prioritize Serena over me, even if it meant ruining one of the most important moments of my life. With Callum by my side, I knew I could get through this. But my relationship with my family? That would never be the same, with anxiety as I saw my mom's name flash on the screen. After everything that had happened, I had no idea what she would say or how I would respond. I took a deep breath and answered. Amara, I just heard about the party, she started, her tone a mix of guilt and irritation. I can't believe you went through with it after everything. You could have at least compromised with your family. I could feel my frustration bubbling up, but I was determined to stay calm. Mom, this was my engagement party. Callum and I spent months planning it. It's not fair to expect me to cancel just because Serena got a promotion. She was silent for a moment and I thought, maybe, just maybe, she understood. But then she sighed. Well, I hope you know how hurt your sister feels. She thought you'd support her big day. I couldn't believe it. Even after everything, she was still making it about Serena. Mom, I said firmly, this was my engagement party, a once-in-a-lifetime event for me. I'm happy for Serena, but you can't expect me to give up everything just to make her happy. She started to say something, but I'd had enough. I gently but firmly told her, look, I don't want to fight about this anymore. You and Dad made your choice, and I made mine. If you can't be happy for me, that's on you. I need to focus on my own happiness now. With that, I ended the call, feeling both relieved and surprisingly empowered. For the first time, I'd stood up to my mom without backing down or apologizing. It felt good, liberating even. Callum, who had overheard the conversation, wrapped his arm around me. I'm proud of you, he said, giving me a reassuring squeeze. You deserve to be happy, and you did the right thing. As the days went by, I couldn't stop thinking about how incredible our engagement party had been, despite the drama. The room full of people who genuinely cared, the laughter, and even my grandma's unforgettable dance moves had made it an evening I'd never forget. And the best part? I didn't feel weighed down by my family's opinions or expectations. I finally felt free to focus on the future I was building with Callum, a future where I could create my own happiness, surround myself with people who truly supported me, and let go of the toxic family dynamics that had held me back for so long. From that day forward, I promised myself that I'd put my own happiness first and stop letting others dictate my worth. I'd let go of the need for approval from people who couldn't appreciate me, and I'd embrace the love and support of those who truly cared. The engagement party had marked more than just a celebration of our upcoming marriage. It was the beginning of a new chapter, a life filled with joy, self-respect, and people who truly had my back. Hearing her bitter words, I felt a pang of guilt mixed with frustration. I'd come here hoping for a truce, but clearly, Serena wasn't ready for any sort of reconciliation. I took a deep breath, reminding myself that I was doing this for Grandma, for the slim chance of mending things. Serena, I didn't come here to make you feel worse, I began gently. I came here because I want us to move past this. I know the timing wasn't ideal, but my engagement party was something I'd been planning for months. I don't want us to keep hurting each other over this. She crossed her arms, her expression unwavering. You keep saying that, but actions speak louder than words, Amara. You had everyone at your party. My event was supposed to be important too, but you overshadowed it without a second thought. I felt my patience slipping. Serena, I didn't overshadow anything on purpose. You scheduled your promotion party at the last minute, knowing it was the same day as my engagement. I didn't make that choice for you. My mom, who had been silently listening, suddenly interjected, her voice harsh. Enough, Amara. You're always making excuses. Family should come first, and if you can't understand that, maybe you don't belong here. I looked at her, feeling a painful lump in my throat. So family only matters when it's convenient for you? I've spent my whole life being pushed aside, all to make room for Serena. And now, I'm supposed to feel guilty for celebrating one of the happiest moments of my life. My dad stood silently in the corner, looking uncomfortable but unwilling to step in. I turned to him, hoping for a shred of understanding, but he just looked away, confirming what I'd always known deep down. "Fine," I said, my voice trembling. "If that's how you feel, then maybe I don't belong here." I turned to leave, but then I stopped, feeling the weight of all the years of disappointment and pain building up. I faced Serena and my parents one last time. "I've done everything I could to make you all happy, to fit in and be a good daughter, a good sister. But no matter what I do, it's never enough. So I'm done trying. From now on, I'm going to put myself first." Without another word, I walked out of the house, feeling a strange mix of sadness and relief. Later that evening, I called Grandma, filling her in on what had happened. She listened quietly, letting me pour out my heart. "Oh, Amara," she said, her voice filled with warmth and understanding. "I know you did your best. Sometimes, people are too set in their ways to see beyond their own expectations. But remember, you deserve to be happy, too. And you have people who love you just the way you are." Hearing those words, I felt the weight of years of hurt slowly lift. I didn't need my parents' or Serena's approval to live my life. I had Callum, who loved me unconditionally, and I had Grandma, who had always been my rock. In the days that followed, I decided to focus on the future I was building with Callum, surrounding myself with people who genuinely supported me. I realized that I didn't have to keep sacrificing my happiness to try to earn love that should have been freely given. The experience had been painful, but it taught me something invaluable. I was worthy of love and respect, just as I was. And I was ready to start living a life where my happiness came first eventually. Serena's own bitterness and vengeful schemes caught up with her. She had been so wrapped up in trying to ruin my life that her work began to suffer noticeably. Her colleagues couldn't ignore the way she was constantly distracted, gossiping, or glued to her phone instead of focusing on her tasks. It wasn't long before her bosses started to take note, too. One afternoon, I got an unexpected call from Alara, my cousin who had initially helped me clear up the rumors at the engagement party. She sounded almost giddy with news. "Amara, you're not going to believe this," she said. "Serena's been put on probation at work. I heard from one of her coworkers that her behavior got so out of control they had no choice." I felt a strange mix of emotions, relief, satisfaction, but mostly sadness. Serena's obsession with tearing me down had ultimately hurt her own career, and I couldn't help but feel it was such a waste. Over the next few weeks, I tried my best to move on, focusing on my future with Callum. He had been my rock through it all, and his family had become my true support system. Callum's mom even invited me over for a girls' day, making it clear how much they welcomed me into their family. As I began to build a happier life without the toxic weight of my parents and Serena, I felt a newfound sense of peace. But one evening, as I scrolled through my messages, I noticed another text from Grandma. "Amara, I just want you to know that no matter what happens, I'm always here for you. Family should support one another, and you have my full love and backing. Callum is your family now, and I'm proud of you for choosing happiness. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty." Reading her words, I realized I finally had the closure I needed. I didn't need my parents' approval or Serena's acceptance to feel whole. I had people in my life who valued, respected, and loved me, just as I was. And with that, I let go of the pain and resentment that had clouded my life for so long. I was free, and this time, I was stepping into a future filled with people who genuinely cared about me. I had finally found my true family in Callum, his parents, and Grandma, and that was all I needed to feel whole and loved. Hearing about Serena's demotion was almost surreal. The very promotion that had caused so much drama was now gone, and people in the office whispered about the irony of it all. It seemed like her relentless efforts to ruin my happiness had backfired. For the first time in months, I felt a sense of calm and closure. With the tension finally behind me, I could focus fully on planning my wedding. Callum and I picked a beautiful outdoor venue, a fairy tale garden with a charming gazebo, perfect for exchanging our vows. As we stood together in the garden, Imagining our big day, Callum gently squeezed my hand. "Are you happy?" he asked softly, looking at me with that familiar warmth. "Happier than I've ever been," I replied, and I meant every word. Next came the excitement of choosing the wedding party. I asked my closest friends, the ones who had supported me through all the turmoil, to be my bridesmaids. Each of them said yes, and their support filled me with even more joy. Then came the guest list. I sat down at the dining table, addressing envelopes to all the friends and relatives who had stood by us, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. Every name reminded me of the love and kindness people had shown, the true essence of family. But when I reached the bottom of my list, I stopped. There were 4 names left unaddressed: Mom, Dad, and Serena. I stared at the blank spaces, feeling a swirl of emotions. Callum found me sitting there, staring at the list. "Are you okay?" he asked, resting a comforting hand on my shoulder. I looked up, tears filling my eyes. "I don't think I can invite them, Callum. Not after everything that's happened." He nodded, understanding. "It's your call, Amara. Whatever you decide, I've got your back." Taking a deep breath, I put down the pen. "No," I said, my voice stronger than I expected. "They don't deserve to be there. This day is about celebrating love and support, and that's not something they've ever shown me." As I made that decision, a profound sense of relief washed over me. This wedding was about starting a new chapter, surrounded by people who truly cared about us. I knew, with Callum by my side, I was making the right choice. It was bittersweet, but the overwhelming relief told me it was the right path forward. The weeks flew by, and before I knew it, our wedding day had arrived. Standing in front of the mirror in my bridal suite, adjusting my veil, I was filled with a peace I hadn't felt in years. As I walked down the aisle toward Callum, I saw the faces of those who had supported us. Callum's parents were beaming with pride. My grandma dabbed at her eyes with a handkerchief, and our friends and family who had stood by us through all the drama were smiling warmly. These were my people, the ones who had shown me what real love and support looked like. When I reached Callum, he took my hands in his eyes shining with love. As we recited our vows, a deep sense of belonging settled over me. This was my true family, built not just on blood but on love, respect, and acceptance. At the reception, surrounded by laughter and joy, I had a profound realization. Our engagement party months ago had been more than just a celebration of our upcoming marriage. It had marked the beginning of my new life, a life where I was no longer an outsider, but someone who could create her own happiness. As Callum and I shared our first dance as husband and wife, I rested my head on his shoulder, feeling truly at peace. The journey had been tough, but it had brought me here, to a place of strength, wisdom, and genuine joy. "I love you," Callum whispered in my ear. "I love you too," I replied, my heart swelling with emotion. In that moment, I knew that whatever life threw our way, we'd face it together. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of the future. I was excited to dive into it headfirst, with Callum by my side. This was my fresh start, my chance to build a life of love and happiness, and I was ready.